Namaste, Heidi. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good too. So, where is Catherine?
She was having some internet connection problems in the last class, so I don't know if she's fixed those yet. Probably not.
Right. Namaste, Sujanji.
Namaste.
How are
Namaste.
you?
I'm fine. What about you?
I'm good too. Thank you. So, how is it your first time in this alignment class?
No, I did it some weeks ago.
Okay. Okay, then let's begin today's session. Sit in any comfortable pose. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Long exhale out. Inhale. And then exhale. Now we will chant 3 times Om together. Inhale. Om. 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 Now join your hands together in front of your heart center. Bow your head down. Open your eyes while blinking. And namaste to everyone.
Namaste.
So, as I told you yesterday, that it's your last week of the month. So, you guys are going to lead session. So, whatever you have learned so far, that you are going to present here. Okay. So, who is prepared? First of all. All right. So, Heidi, would you like to start?
Okay. So I thought today we could do Warrior 3 and also the Lord of the Dance pose. They're quite similar, so I think it'd be nice to do them together. So I think first let's warm up by doing Sun Salutation A. Just to get everyone warmed up. So if you come to the front of your mat, about a foot from the front of your mat, and we'll come to Saraswati. And on an inhale, we'll bring the hands all the way above the head. And then exhale to fold down to the ground, touch your feet, touch your hands to the mat. And then inhale, come to halfway, look up. And exhale to jump back to Chaturanga. And then inhale for upward facing dog. Exhale for downward facing dog and stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we'll bend the knees. Inhale to come to the front of the mat and lift up halfway. And then exhale to fold down. And inhale to come all the way up. And exhale to Saraswati. And then we'll repeat again. So inhale to bring the hands above the head. Exhale to float your hands all the way down to the ground. Inhale to look up halfway. And exhale, jump back to Chaturanga. Then we'll inhale for upward facing dog. And exhale for downward facing dog. And again, stay here. You can pedal out your legs one by one. 3, 2. And then we'll bend the knees, jump to the front of the mat, and lift up halfway. And then exhale to fold down. And then we'll inhale, bring the hands all the way above the head. And exhale to come back to 𝐸-𝐸𝐸. And then we'll inhale, bring the hands above the head. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale to lift up halfway. And exhale to come back to Chaturanga. And then we'll inhale for upward facing dog. Exhale for downward facing dog. And then we'll bring the right foot forward into warrior one. Turn the left toes out and bring the hands above the head. And then drop the palms, step back to Chaturanga. Inhale for upward facing dog. And exhale for downward facing dog. And then we'll bring the left foot forward into warrior one, lift the hands above the head. Exhale to bring the hands back down to the ground and step back to Chaturanga. And we'll inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. And then we'll bend the knees and jump up into halfway lift up. Exhale to fold all the way down, keeping the spine straight. And inhale, come all the way up, hands above the head. And exhale into 𝐸-𝐸𝐸. And then, so for warrior 3, we're going to step the left leg back. And we'll come to warrior 1 first. So bend the front knee as we've done before. Keep the left toes out at about 45 degrees. And we will bring the hands to the waist and press into all edges of your right foot. And then we'll bring the left toes in slightly and come up onto the, lift the heels to come up to a high lunge. And we'll engage the abdomen by squeezing it in and bringing the tailbone down. And you want your hips to be square towards the front of the mat and your chest to be open. And then we will, I need to move back actually. So you want to shift your weight to your front leg, your right leg, and slowly lift up the back leg. And make sure you're bending forwards from your hips and not your back. And then as you lift up your back leg, you bring your chest down, but make sure that it remains open. And then as your leg comes up, you can reach your both hands forwards, keeping the palms facing upwards and gaze forwards. You can have a slight micro bend in your front leg to avoid it locking as well. And you can stay here for a few breaths. Try and keep stable, keep pressing into all edges of your front foot. And then you can slowly lower your back leg down and come back to a high lunge. And then we'll repeat on the other side. So you can rotate your feet to the other side so that your left foot becomes the front. And we'll come to warrior 1 first. And then rotate the right legs inwards so that your hips become square and you can lift your heel off of the mat. Hands on your hips or above your head if you want. And then again, we'll shift the weight to the front leg and slowly lean forwards from your hip points and slowly lift your back leg off of the ground, and keeping your chest open, lower it down until it's parallel to the mat. And then you can slowly reach your hands out in front, keeping them parallel to the ground. Point your toes and keep pressing into each edge of your foot to remain stable, and look forwards. And try and keep your hips level so that one is not, your left hip isn't going down more than your right, sorry. Inhale and exhale. And then we'll slowly release the right leg back down into a high lunge. And then you can turn your feet now to face the front of your mat. Come back to Samasthiti. And so that was Warrior 3. And there are some modifications if you're a beginner. So for example, if I was here, you can either hold on to a chair or a wall to help you stabilize. And then you can gradually let go in order to get that feeling of the balance. And you can also, I don't know if I have a block. I don't have a block. Okay, I don't have a block, but I have a plant pot, so imagine that's a block. And you can lower your hands down to touch that as well in order to gain that stability in your front leg. And then again, gradually you can work to release your hands up. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions about that before I quickly go through the benefits of it? No? Okay. So benefits of Warrior 3 include increased balance and stability in your whole body because you're using every part of it. And it really strengthens the leg, especially the front leg and your front ankle, as well as your abdomen. And then it also increases your concentration because you're having to focus on this balance. And also increases your flexibility and openness of your hamstrings as you bend forward on your front leg. So yeah, very good pose. And then very similarly is the Lord of the Dance pose. Has anybody done that before?
Which one?
Lord of the Dance pose. I think that's what it's called.
Pardon, I could not understand. Which dog?
The Lord of the Dance pose, natrajpose.
Can you show us?
Like
Maybe
this. I don't know if that's the right word for it.
Okay, natrajpose.
Yes. Sorry, I can pronounce it properly. So this is very similar in that you're balancing on one leg, and the other leg is going behind you, except that it's a deeper stretch. You're lifting your leg up more. So I will go through this again. We'll begin in mountain pose. So we start in mountain pose, and then you want to ground your right foot by pressing into all edges of the right foot. And you can shift your weight slowly to your right foot. Keep your hands either side of you. Oh, sorry, mountain Samasthiti, not the downward dog mountain pose. The other mountain pose. Sorry, that was my.
Okay.
So we'll shift the weight to the right foot, and slowly you can lift your left heel off the ground and stay here. Just make sure that you're balanced to begin with. And then taking your left foot up behind your bum, and you want to reach for the inner edge of your foot, not the outer edge. And that will mean that there's external rotation of the shoulders. And then you want to make sure that your hips are square towards the front of the mat. You're not leaning to one side or the other. And bring in your abdomen so that you're activating that. Bring the tailbone down. And then we'll lift the right arm up and over the head and open up the chest. And then slowly, as we did in the warrior 3, we'll lean forwards from the hips, not from the back. And you can reach your left leg up. You can, as you hold on to it, you can reach it up further. And you lean forward so that your right arm is about 45 degrees above parallel. So here's parallel, 45 degrees just up. And make sure that as your back is bending, which is only slight if you're not advanced, make sure you're bending from your thoracic region and not your lumbar region. And again, your palms should be facing up and your gaze should be towards your fingertips in front. And I would keep a slight micro bend in your front knee so that you're not locking it and you'll have better stability. And try and keep your back knee towards the midlines so that you have better stability. Keep your hips square, make sure one isn't higher than the other. And then just press up. And then you can slowly lower back down, release your leg and return to Saraswati. And then we'll repeat on the other side. Shake your legs out first. You might be a bit tired. So then we'll shift the weight to the left foot and slowly lift the heel of the right foot. You can keep your hands on your waist as well if you want. And then we'll bring the right leg back, bend it backwards, and with your right hand, take the inner edge of your foot. And then again, we'll slowly lean forwards, palm out in front, and slowly lift your back leg up, creating a nice stretch. And again, with this one, just like warrior 3, you can take the support of a chair or a wall as you come up to stabilize yourself. And then as you get better balance, you can then release your hand and come into posture. And if you're very flexible, you can reach back with both of your hands to grab your foot, which I'm not sure if I can actually do. Can't do this at all. But that will give you a greater stretch in your back leg and on your back. And you can also use a strap around your back foot in order to pull it up higher, so that you can get the deeper stretch. Does anyone have any questions about that one? And the benefits of this posture are very similar to warrior 3 as well. So you have building strength in your legs and your ankles, and your core and your back as well. Especially on your front leg as you're bending forwards, you'll also get a nice stretch on your back thigh as you're lifting that up, and a good stretch on your front hamstring as you're leaning forwards. It also builds concentration and balance in this posture, and activates the whole body, so it's a very energizing posture. Yeah. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, you must be tired, Heidi. You must be tired because you keep on speaking.
I'm very nervous.
I know.
Katrine, do you have a question?
When you take your back foot with both hands, so in the beginning you're grabbing the inside of the foot.
Inside.
When you grab it with both hands, do you grab like with the right hand the outside, the inside, or do you cross your hands?
I think you can take your left hand on the outside and your right hand on the inside, as long as you're having that external rotation of your shoulders and you're opening your chest up. Then I think have it on the outside, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? No.
So this warrior C and
Warrior C and natrajpose.
natrajpose, they both were well explained by you. It was nice.
Pardon? Oh, thank you.
You explained it very well. Like everything was clear and like it was like we could see that you prepare for it. You just did not come up and show up and start speaking. It was nice. So this warrior C and this natrajpose, they both are almost similar as you told. Like we have to just find the balance in this. In this warrior C, what is the main purpose of it? Like what does it give us? Does it give us flexibility, balance, or what else?
I think mostly it's balance. And when you're a beginner, it probably also strengthens your front leg, the one that's standing up. And then for the other one, the natrajpose, again, stability in your, balance in your front leg, and also building the strength there when you're a beginner. And it can increase the flexibility of your back leg as you're taking it up further. But I think for the most part, they're balancing postures.
Yeah. And what about like in the warrior C, we also get strength on the front leg and the back leg too. Like we usually see, we all know that how we're gonna stretch our hamstring, but we don't know about how we're gonna strengthen that hamstring. I see the warrior C. See, when you're lifting something against the gravity, if your upper hand, like let's suppose if you're taking your one hand upward, like this is called adduction, this is your abduction, this is your adduction, right? So while abducting, so which muscles is going to get engaged? Your this muscles or upper muscle? Which muscles when I'm taking my hands up, which is playing the important role?
Muscles?
Upper muscles, they are going to contract. Due to it, I'm lifting my hand. If these muscles were not active or they were not working, so I could not lift my hand, right? So when the moment when these muscles get engaged, that time I could lift my hand. The same way when we do warrior C, when we are lifting up our leg upward to the backside, that means our hamstring muscle, they are going to engage. Okay, so in that we are engaging that hamstring and our lower back. We are like continuously building the muscle strength of our that particular area muscle. Okay, so this is good for those who have got scoliosis, slip disc problem, or lower back pain. Okay, so this warrior C is going to be like helping us out. And as you told that when we modify the posture with the block, or we can take the support of the chair or table, anything, then like we can hold there for a long period of time to get maximum benefit from it. Yeah.
I actually forgot to look up, but for the natrajpose, because you're bending your back slightly, would people with like slip disc and back problems in general should they not do this posture?
Yes, like if it's in severe case, otherwise it can be done for those people too, because it's not forward bend, but in the slip disc we have to avoid forward bend.
Okay. So
Mhm.
backward bends are all right.
Yeah, backward bend is fine. But
Mhm.
intense one, like bringing your head close to
Yeah.
your foot, that is going to be intense
Painful.
and hard. That was all for today's session.
Yeah, that's all that I've prepared for today. But I thought they went nicely together because they're
Okay.
quite similar, but different at the same time. Yeah. Hopefully that was all
Okay,
right.
so in this, let's talk about other poses in which we can strengthen our hamstring. Okay, so do you have any idea like which are going to be those poses
Mm,
where we get the strength on our hamstring, not only just stretch?
maybe like eagle pose, or where you have one foot on the ground and lift the other one up into the splits. I can't remember what that's called, but basically ones where you're balancing on one leg.
Mhm,
Would they strengthen the hamstrings?
mhm. And chair pose
Chair pose.
going to give us strength, and happy baby pose. Happy baby pose also gives us strength on our hamstring, and bridge pose, and almost all back bends. They are going to bring us engagement in our hamstring and hips. Okay, so like Cobra Pose, that they are also going to help us out to bring their strength. And what else?
Would downward facing dog as well engage the hamstrings because you're stretching your.
Downward facing dog, when we are bending our leg, at the time we are like engaging, but if we don't bend, we just try to keep, like push our heels against the gravity or against the floor, then we are not going to engage them.
Okay.
Okay, so this was the thing about this hamstring stretch and the strength of the, like building the strength of our hamstring muscle. So did we also talk about knock knees, bow knees, or anterior pelvic tilt, posterior pelvic tilt?
I think we talked about that a little bit before, or maybe I'd seen it on the online videos. I didn't mention that here though.
Okay, then let's talk about it, right? So guys, please give her some feedback, like whatever you like about her class. And yeah, that's it. And if there is something that you want her to suggest, then you may suggest it.
You explained very clear, so I could follow easily, and
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
Thank you. I think next time I'll be less nervous as well.
Susan?
I liked Heidi telling about the benefits and the variations also. It was very informative.
Yeah, it's very necessary. Like it's necessary to talk about variation and modification of the posture, because everybody cannot perform the posture. Okay, so using the props or helping others out. This is the important thing.
Yes, we need to be prepared to every kind of people that comes to the class.
Yes. And one more thing I would like to add on here, that when it was very nice when you were saying inhale and exhale while instructing. So this is also important because we usually forget to say inhale and exhale, and that you kept on beyond that track. So that was nice. Okay. Okay, then let's talk about knock knees and bow knees. Okay. So maybe you have heard knock knees. Have you heard knock knees before? When your knees are coming together, that is your knock knees. When your knees are coming together, this is your knock knees. When your knees goes away from each other, that is your bow knees. Okay. In the knock knees, why does this happen? Because of the wrong posture of your legs. Okay, when you just keep on moving with the wrong, with a like bad movement, then it usually happens. Okay, in this knock knees, what's going to happen to your leg? Your upper leg, that will rotate inward, your lower leg, that will rotate outward, and your feet, that will rotate inward. Okay, because of this internal rotation of your feet, you will get flat feet. Okay, have you seen your slippers? where from it start to, start to, how can we say, it rubs. Like after 5 months, 6 months, you can see your slipper where it start to rub, like from where it,
On the front and the heel.
what can we say for it?
I guess because you have an arch in your foot, it's not going to rub in the middle.
Yeah, see, you may have seen that, your slippers or shoes where from it rubs, like it start to get off,
Bear
and
down.
yeah, it start to tilt towards the inside. Okay, it never tilts outside, right? Because the center of the gravity. You just keep on moving on your legs. We just forget about that, how we're gonna balance our center of the gravity to the all edges of our feet. Okay, so there are 3 points of our feet, like first, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, these all three should be pressed evenly when you're walking. Okay, but what we usually do when we walk, and when we wear bad shoes, or we've been wearing the same shoes for long period of time, then it start to rub. So that bad shoes is also going to give us that flat feet. Okay, why? Because that shoes must be tilting to the left side, and there will be definitely a slant. Okay, that slant means that slant. So that slant uh, is gonna fall you into this flat feet. Okay, so in this flat feet, what is happening? Your plantar fascia, this fascia, that is going to lose. It won't have any strength anymore. Okay, so because of this strength, because of because of this collapse, the strength on your plantar fascia, we usually fall inward. Okay, this is your center of gravity. Okay, when we fall inward, at that time our outer edges of our feet does not get pressed down. Okay, so because of it, then your feet will start inward, like your feet will start to collapse inward, and your lower leg, that will start to rotate outward, and your upper leg, that will start to rotate inward. Okay, so because of this internal rotation of your leg, now your inner thigh muscle, they will get tight. Because of this tightness, that is why your knees are coming together. Let's suppose your legs, your both muscles are balanced now, right now, but let's suppose if your inner thigh muscles get tight, so they are going to pull each other, right? So they are going to come close to each other. But when you're see, because of this tightness, your knees are coming together, and because of this lack of strength on your outer thigh, they are letting your knees go inward, right? So what that means, we are supposed to work on the flexibility of our inner thigh and strength of our outer thigh. Okay, because of that lack of strength, our knees are coming together. If it would have strength already, then it won't let your knee come together. Okay, so that is why in the knock knees, like for those whoever has got knock knees, so they're supposed to do leg stretches, like inner thigh leg stretches, like butterfly, or what else they can do? They can do warrior poses. They can do warrior C, warrior B, and frog pose, happy baby pose, and extended child pose. So these all poses are going to be done for those people. Okay, but what about the strength? If you just keep on working on the flexibility, what about the strength of your other part, like outer thighs? So that they are also supposed to be like strengthened, right? So we are going to strengthen our outer thigh, like half moon pose. That is going to give us strength. Chair pose, that will also again gives us strength. What else you can do? Warrior C. Warrior C also gives us strength. Ashtanga Namaskar, where our knees, chest, chin are on the floor. So that pose also gives us strength. So these are the poses which is going to give us strength. Okay, if we don't work on it, and if we don't see this anterior pelvic tilt, or sorry, if you don't see these, knock knees or flat feet, then it will influence your hips too. Okay, if you don't observe that your knees are coming together, your feet are coming together, now that worst case, the worst case scenario is going to increase to your hips too. Okay, then your hips will start to tilt forward. Okay, so that will start to tilt forward. Tilting means that is called anterior pelvic tilt. When your hips tilt forward and your hips gets high. Okay, so there is a difference between that muscles on your hips, like that flash on your hips, and that anterior pelvic tilt. Okay, don't feel like if you got your muscles on your butts, that is not anterior pelvic tilt. Okay, when your hip is tilting forward, that is your anterior pelvic tilt. Okay, when your hip flexors they get tight, that is called anterior pelvic tilt. Just look at me here. So now my hips are normal, but if your hips tilt forward like this and you're like this is your anterior pelvic tilt. Okay, so this is not anterior pelvic tilt, this is your anterior pelvic tilt. So because of these knock knees, your legs are rotating inward, your upper legs are rotating inward, and because of this internal rotation, like you remain with this internal rotation of your leg, right? So because of it, your inner thigh muscle they get habitual of flexing. Inner thigh muscles they are tight, right? In these knock knees, when your inner thigh muscles are tight, then your hip flexors, because from the inner thigh, then your hip flexors gets connected to each other. Okay, so from this hip flexor, your inner thigh will get tight and your hip flexors will also get tight, and that is then you will get anterior pelvic tilt. In this anterior pelvic tilt, you will have a lot of tightness in your hip joint and your hips won't have any strength. Let's suppose if you had strength on your butts, okay, then how it could be possible that your hip will tilt forward? Because of the lack of strength on your hips, that is why your hip is moving forward. Otherwise your hip will never let your hip to tilt forward. Okay, but still we are getting our hips tilting forward. That means our hips are suffering from the lack of strength. Okay, so now what do we have to do? We have to build the strength on our butts and do the back bends or all stretches that is figuring out on our hip flexors. Okay, so all those poses that we are going to perform wherever we are finding that stretch on our hip flexors and strength on our butts. Like Cobra Pose, in the Cobra Pose, we can easily build the strength on our butts. In the Bridge Pose, we can build the strength on our butts. And see, the same time we are stretching our hip flexors, we are also strengthening our butts. So they both are going to be together. Okay, and what else? Cobra Pose or any back bend that you are performing, that is going to stretch your hip flexors and strengthen your low back and your butts. So this is supposed to be done if you have got anterior pelvic tilt. So why does this anterior pelvic tilt happens? Only just because of not knees. It also happens because of other problems, like when you run a lot, okay, and when you're wearing heels, right? So when your heels are like up of the floor and your body weight is shifting forward, then your body adapts this internal rotation. Okay, so don't wear too much heels. All right. So this is all for anterior pelvic tilt and posterior pelvic tilt. You will never find people who have got posterior pelvic tilt. Have you seen people like moving like this behind? No. Okay. So you like, if there is a chance, otherwise you won't find anybody who has got posterior pelvic tilt. Okay. So naturally we have got slight anterior pelvic tilt, that is fine. But when it's tilting too much forward, when you're hinging forward from your pelvic girdle, then there is a problem. All right. So any question about this anterior pelvic tilt? Have you got it? What does it mean? Anterior pelvic tilt and posterior pelvic tilt? And what are the stretches that we can follow? that we can perform for those who have got anterior pelvic tilt. What are these? The Cobra poses,
The Cobra Pose,
any back bend that you can perform.
the Pigeon Pose,
Pigeon pose. Yes, in the pigeon pose, again we are going to stretch our hip flexors and engaging our buttocks. What else?
the Frog Pose, Happy Baby,
Frog pose, happy baby pose. Yes. See, ultimately, if you are stretching your inner thigh, definitely your hip flexors will also get tight. Okay, so ultimately they both are connected to you. However, we have to understand which poses are supposed to be done. Okay, if you just let's suppose if you are working on the front split, that is not going to give us a stretch on your inner thighs. That will only give us a stretch on your hip flexor. Now you have to understand one more thing. If you have got knock knees, it is not necessary that you will find anterior pelvic tilt too. Maybe that is not in that level, like it's like below than that level. So it is not still, it's still over here. It did not go here. Okay. So understand, if you have got knock knees, that means you just need to stretch your inner thigh muscle. You don't need to go up to your pelvic girdle. Okay. First stretch this part. You can go up, but don't feel like this stretch is going to help us for the knock knees. Okay, that should be clear. So any question that you want to ask? Okay, Catherine, tomorrow you have to perform, okay? Just don't get afraid, everything is fine. All right, you just need to talk about any 2 and 3 posture so that you can go with a 1 hour class. Okay, don't get afraid, just be present tomorrow. Okay, so let's finish today's session. Sit in any comfortable pose. Close your eyes. Now we will chant 1 Om followed by 3 Shanti. Take a deep breath in. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Join your hands together in front of your heart center. Bow your head down. Open your eyes while blinking. And namaste to everyone. Enjoy your day. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.